What's up, everybody? Jacob Barnhill here. We're doing another EXP testimonial today with some fabulous guests that I'm super excited about. Today we have Lisa and Greg Harris. You may know them as the Harris Home Team. Did I get that right? It was Harris Home Team previously, and now they are a part of the Lower Latitudes Network. So without further ado, Lisa, Greg, welcome to the show, and I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day. Really excited about interviewing you guys today. So give us a little background on you guys.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We are a husband and a wife team based here out of Columbia, South Carolina area. And we also have 2 team members in the state of Florida on both sides of the coast when you look at West Palm and that area, and then the opposite side into Tampa, St. Pete. So we are a growing mega team, and we transferred over to EXP just a couple of years ago.
And loving it.
Very cool. Go ahead.
By the way, she's the boss, even though she says we're a team. Like, she's the boss.
I'm glad we have that straight.
Yeah.
Is it Greg's supposed to be the back end, right? Did I get that right?
Yes.
I do everything.
How does anybody say
yes,
experience?
ma'am.
He's always cracking jokes. So there's so much that I could unpack. I know we're not going to have time for everything with 20 minutes, but you guys have been one of the agents that I remember looking up to when I first got in the business. And I knew you guys, I think you were probably 3 or 4 years. I might be a little off on that in the business when I first got in 2016. Right. And yet I just remember you guys were taking off. I was like, I want to be there. I want to do that in 3 years. Like, that would be amazing. And you guys were still in classes, learning and doing that stuff. So just to show you a little bit of the kind of people that Lisa and Greg are. But today, this is about you guys and your decision-making process going to EXP Realty. Let's unpack that. When did you guys first hear about EXP? The very first time, not when it was brought to you, but when did you first see it come into your space?
That's kind of interesting because I had been approached probably almost 3 years before I had said, okay, hey, let's take a look at this. And it was by someone that I had previously sponsored at my previous brokerage who had made the switch. And I was, through the core dedicated to my brokerage at that point, and I wouldn't even listen, wouldn't have anything to do with it. Didn't even tell him about it, and was like, okay, whatever. And I didn't have I don't know what the exact word is. I didn't have the interest or the intrigue or the, hey, let me take a look at this, or a curiosity about it at that point.
Right.
And I think it was a couple more times I had different people approach me and have conversations. And then what really ended up prompting it was we were hitting the ceiling and feeling frustration. And between him and I, we were like, okay, we want to grow bigger. And we were doing a pretty good job of growing at the point that we were. But I was like, I want more. I want bigger. I need more tools and more opportunity. And here he was, the productivity coach of that market center. And I was leading the team. And we had a fabulous team. And we all on our team kind of felt like we were at a ceiling.
Yeah, getting stagnant, if you will. And you were extremely loyal to the brokerage you're at and wouldn't even listen to options. And I said, just look at this. It makes a lot of sense. And bottom line, we'll make more money. And being a previous businessman, I was a partner in a restaurant chain. We had 26 restaurants. It's about the profit and what comes back to me. And we found the EXP model. We just make more money. Simple as that.
Yeah. One thing I know for sure, I don't know the answer to this question, but I'm pretty sure I know the answer. Have you guys been on more vacations since you've been at EXP? I think I see a lot of that on social media.
Yes. And interestingly enough, the whole point of me getting into the real estate world in 2013, we were at a place where Greg we was partners in multiple restaurants. He was working pretty much 7 days a week. He ate and breathed the restaurant business. And we had 2 kids, and we didn't have a life. We had no life outside of the restaurant business. So when I got into the world of real estate, my intent was to get in so that we could actually have a life. And I love to travel. And I wanted to be able to give my kids the gift of being able to see the world besides just this little place of South Carolina, because I wanted them to learn and expand and know so much more than what they had here in the small state of South Carolina. It's a great place, but there's so much out there to learn when you travel.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and said, my goal in getting in this business is to get you out of the restaurant business. We did that in 2 years, which was a pretty big accomplishment. And then at that point, we started traveling with our kids and actually taking vacations. And since we've come to EXP, the last 2 years, we've had more than 5 or 6 vacations a year. And when previously we would do 2 or 3, but we do a lot of travel. Now, so much now that whenever I go into one of my preferred closing attorneys, they call me the traveling realtor.
Yeah, that's awesome.
YouTube channel,
the travel agent. Yeah, travel agent on the side. Yeah, that's awesome. So what I'm hearing is that there was kind of a little bit of personal funk in the way, which I see a lot with people sometimes. And really, I know you're telling your story about when you first got into real estate, and I think everyone has a story that they can relate to like that. And then it changes somewhere along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Our priorities end up being, with relationships that may or may not serve us any well or any longer rather, but you ended up eventually seeing something different. And at the end of the day, it's all about those memories and those times and the options with family. So
it truly is.
My kids were growing up without me, and
I know how taxing the restaurant business is. I didn't work the management side. I almost did, but Erin and I met in the restaurant. It's busy stuff.
We did too, basically.
We basically did, yeah.
She sold me air. She was my radio rep.
That's
awesome. That was their old joke.
So I had a little bit of sales experience before I got into the real estate world. Obviously, I did pretty good. I sold him, right?
That's pretty good. I love it. All right, so backing up real quick. So EXP, the first time you guys saw it, someone essentially brought it to you, right? But you were kind of avoiding that situation. So then it sounds like, was Greg the one that really started cracking the shell, or was it more than that once?
Well, and I think it was a combination of the both. Part of the reason why I really wanted him in the business with me was because I had so much respect for his business background and his management skill and his bottom dollar net profit and watching the details.
You need those people. Yeah.
That's what he's good at. So when he really started to perk up and say, we really need to look at this, I kind of took a step back and said, okay, this may be an opportunity to get us past the ceiling that we feel like we keep hitting. And I didn't feel like I was getting the tools and the opportunities and the direction that I needed, even though at the brokerage I was at, they kept telling me, oh no, they're here. But it really wasn't as vastly expansive. So the interesting thing was when I got into this business, I did a ton of research. I actually laid everything into an Excel spreadsheet and detailed it all out and said, okay, where can I learn the most and make the most money? So him and I kind of went back to that and did the same thing when we started to go through that process of if we're not seeing where we can go from here to breach the ceiling, what can we do? And we started looking at everything, and EXP was one of them. And when we started looking at, okay, where is this business going to take us, and what opportunities do we have, and who's going to give us those tools, the experience, and the training? And from our past relationship at previous brokerage that I am all about training.
Oh yeah,
I'm all about learning.
I love it.
And if you are not continuously learning, my dad used to have a philosophy, and he used to always preach to his kids and say, if you're not learning and you're not changing your life based upon what you're learning on a regular basis, they might as well put you 6 feet under. And he used to tell us that all the time.
When we finally decided to look at other options other than what we were at, we looked at everything out there.
Everything.
And
that's good of you guys.
And we're in it for the long haul. This is our career. This is what we do for a living, and we plan on doing it for many years. So we wanted a brokerage that we could grow with, that has training, and the business model of EXP just made sense.
Cool. Well, break that down for me. So, actually, before we even get there, so you guys saw something. We're going to get into the things, but I'm sure that there was some reservations, some fears. Now that you guys were actually considering EXP, you had that EXP, it was standing out to you on your spreadsheet, and you knew that was the direction you were going to go. Okay. You had to go share that with your team. And you had
Well,
some other people that you had to sell that on. What were some
That's
fears?
true.
What were some fears you guys had around that?
That is true. And this was what was interesting, especially being that we had two teams in Florida and then having our team here. The really interesting thing about the part of that when we presented it to them, this was amazing. And when we went to EXP, we had the vice president and a president, and I can't tell you how many higher ups within EXP called myself and Greg and said, what can we do? How can we present this? We want to be able to present this to your team so that we can help. It was not a, hey, just click on this and sign up.
Support was there before we even made the decision.
Way before.
EXP. So how can we do to help you? What can we do to help you? Our upline was doing the same thing. And we had a team meeting. And after we showed them the model and the differences, they're like, why haven't we done this already? What are we waiting on?
They were the ones that started pushing us.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because just going over the simple things as far as the numbers and those small pieces of breaking down the opportunities and what EXP had to offer, our team looked at us and said, okay, thanks leaders. We appreciate that. Why aren't we already there?
Yeah.
And the Florida team, they were like, same thing. They're like, wait a minute, my split gets cut in half, and the cap gets cut in half. Why haven't we done this already?
And we have this EXP world we can go meet in, and we can go talk to anybody, and we have other resources for training. And they all looked at us and said, okay, this is a no-brainer. Can we do it tomorrow?
This is so crazy. I'm literally having to this is the first time I've done one of these, and I have to write this down because I think you guys are really on to the process that you guys went through, right? I literally just did a video today, a Facebook reel, and I was saying it's time for a change in your business when you feel like you're on an island, right? In your circumstance, you probably felt some way like that. You were trying to solve a problem you just couldn't figure
Very
out.
much.
And somebody reached into your lives, and then there were other people that started reaching into your lives, and you guys felt a whole different experience. It's amazing, like how that works, right? So cool. So what was your favorite thing? What was your favorite thing when you were making the jump that you were most excited about?
For me, one of my most favorite things was I felt like I had more control over my career and my future with EXP than I did with our previous brokerage. And the previous brokerage had profit share. Okay. But if there was no profit at that market center, I didn't get anything.
Out of your control.
Yeah. I had no control over it. That was OP's control. If he decided to pay off his bills and so there's no profit, which he did several times, we got no profit share. We had no control over that.
Even though that we were doing the work that we were supposed to be doing, there were a couple of times, and they go, "Oh no!" And we were at a place with that brokerage where technically
profit share was pretty big.
Yeah, we were getting our $23,000 back every year.
That's
until
awesome.
Some of those bills started getting paid, and I was like, "Wait a minute! I'm not getting my money that I'm paying you back, and I'm really not getting anything for that." So that's what prompted some of what we started looking for was the bottom dollar net.
Right.
And it's interesting because for him, I think what the attraction was a little bit different than it was for me when we started looking at all that EXP had to offer, because part of it for me was I loved the systems. I loved the training. They looked simpler. They were smoother. And yeah, the bottom dollar profit for us was going to be more and more beneficial for us. But I think it was also the fact that when I was sitting in an office at my old brokerage, I had this never-ending revolving door of agents that were coming and asking me questions all the time. And I used to love the knock, knock, knock. Hey, you got a minute?
Yeah.
And 1 minute is never 1 minute.
Full of knowledge, so approachable.
And I love to teach. I love to help other agents learn. I have always been of the philosophy, I'm a learner. I love teaching and learning. And I love sharing that, because I think if we all as agents get better, then we as an industry get better. And I've always felt that. The interesting thing for me was I saw an opportunity where those 1 to 5 minute conversations that we had with agents that would knock on our door, I could have a little bit more control over that, but still do it. And that's one of the things I love about EXP, because I would have agents come in my office that were part-time agents that would come in and say, well, I couldn't go to that class because it was in person or it was live and it wasn't recorded, or I didn't have an opportunity to look at it. So they wanted the Cliff Notes from me. Well, I can't give you the Cliff Notes of a 1 hour class in 5 minutes. Right. So now I have an opportunity where I can say, hey, there's a whole EXP university. Go in there and you can click on whatever and you can see that. And if it's midnight because you have odd hours and you're trying to get out of your world that you're in with part-time job, you can still go learn. And that's one of the things I saw an opportunity in EXP that I loved.
So cool.
Plus, you like to talk, so it was never 1 minute.
That's so abnormal for salespeople. I don't understand. But, all right, so now that you guys are over here, what's your favorite thing? What's the thing that surprised you?
There's
so many things. One of my favorite things, to be honest, is how quickly we get paid.
Yeah, I was going to point that out earlier, and I'm glad you said it. Like they don't miss on that. They do absolutely amazing. Yeah. You don't have to walk out of closing with paper. You know, it's awesome.
We had a closing Tuesday, and it was a big closing for us. 1.3 million on a home on the lake.
Boom.
The money was on our account the next day. That's awesome. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's been really nice.
That's not one time for that price point possibly, or not as frequent, but the way that we get paid, right?
Yeah, right.
It's just boom, 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 boom.
The systems. Yeah. The systems have been phenomenal. The smooth and simpleness of it. The other thing that I found super just over the top awesome is the sharing. When I went to EXP Con the first time, you know, my experience in going to training classes and going to seminars and things of that nature have always been, okay, they give you the bullet points, right? But they don't give you hey, this is the person that I contacted. Do you want their number? Right. Do you want to do it this way? Do you want to have that person call you? Yeah. They didn't give you, okay, here's the bullet points of how we did these mailers, but they didn't give you the guts of it. Right. And the first time I went to EXP Con, him and I were sitting in a mastermind with top level agents. I mean, they're throwing out, this is the person I contacted. This is who it is. Here, write this down.
This is how I did it.
And this is how I did it. And gave you the guts of how, and if you have questions, here's my phone number, call me. This person's in Hawaii or California or, you know, way across the world. There was a guy that stood up in that mastermind that was from a foreign country, that he was there for the first time for EXP Con. And they had just brought on, it was a
Middle East, I think, or something.
Yeah. And he was amazing. And
so I hear this all the time. I want your guys' opinion on this sharing. Have you guys ever heard of the 3 C's of EXP? The compensation, the cloud-based, and compensation. Did I say this first one?
Compensation, cloud-based, and
collaboration.
Collaboration. I started saying community collaboration.
So I hear the collaboration thing. It's my favorite thing too. I love the collaboration and the sharing, but it's at a whole other level. Every brokerage has collaboration.
It is.
Every brokerage has family, but it's different. And I want y'all's opinion. Like, why is it so different? Why do people share at that level?
I think
so everybody can understand.
For me, and in going back to the EXP Con, one of the most refreshing things to me was, and we've been to other brokerage conferences where it was all about how great their brokerage is. This is how great we are. This is how great we are. With EXP, it was like, how can we make you great? Right. It wasn't about how great they are. In fact, the word EXP, rarely came up. It was all about what can we do to help you be successful? Yeah. Not look how successful we are.
The other big thing for me was that it makes sense for all of us to be able to be successful and to grow EXP as a whole, because number one, we have the opportunity to share in revenue. And number two, if I make you better and you make me better, iron sharpens iron. And the great thing about that is it just means that we continue to grow, not just as a company, but if I help somebody else and then they come across something that says, hey, this worked for me, they're going to pick up the phone and call me and say, hey, you shared something with me. I want to share this with you.
Right.
And it's just a different perspective than it's almost so individually community driven, on a smaller scale, but yet so much bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
One of our concerns switching over was losing the camaraderie and the collaboration, being basically a virtual company. In fact, but we found out the opposite. It's actually better.
In what way have you found it better? I want everyone to hear, because I think you're absolutely right.
Well, I think some of it is that we do community purposefully. And I mean that from a perspective of when we get together and we share. It wasn't very long ago, we had some changes in our contract. So we all got together and as a community here had a great in-person class. And people have this outside perspective that EXP doesn't have in-person classes. We do.
Right.
And we had this great community of getting all these people in the local area together and sharing information about what was going on a local level. So we still got that opportunity to see each other, but it was with great purpose and great intent. There's very little wasted time when it comes to our community. And not to mention the fact that I post up when I need something, or if I've got a listing coming up. We have our workplace, and we go in there and can communicate with each other on a whole different level. I can be anywhere in the world and communicate with people here locally, or for that matter, if I need an agent across the country, I can go into workplace, and there's multiple places that I can find referral sources within our own EXP world to be able to find exactly what I'm looking for. So there's just so much more connection and opportunity that you still have that in person, but you have more than just that.
Right. Yeah. I find a lot of times people's fears it reminds me so much of like working with buyers and sellers. A lot of times there's truths a lot of times behind the lies that we'll tell ourselves. Right. And I found so much more opportunity. I was a little bit of a rare bird that I found EXP on my own. And I was like you, though. When I saw it, I was like, hands down, this is it. And your team did the same once they saw it.
Yeah.
Boom. So now that you guys are here, you've had all of this experience, and looking back, what would you have done differently going through that process?
That's good. Maybe the only thing I can think that comes to the top of my head is, why didn't we do it sooner?
Which is probably what everyone says that we talk to.
Nope, never heard it before.
Exactly. And I think part of the great thing about our transition process was that we had so much support, and we had so much, outreach from EXP higher ups, because they wanted to make sure everyone within our team made that transition as smoothly as possible. And I think that was key for us. So I don't know that I would change anything different. And I would say that for anyone that's bringing a team or themselves, reach out and get the connections to make sure that process is smooth and seamless. Because anytime you change a brokerage, first of all, it costs money to change signs and business cards and all those things. And so I always tell everybody, not all brokerages are created equal. So make sure you're doing your research. So when you make that change, you're not wasting money. And don't make the hop where you go in and you don't give it the opportunity to really dig in and get the guts of what that company is about. I see a lot of agents that have made jumps from brokerage to brokerage to brokerage, and they don't really give it the opportunity. And if you're going to spend that kind of money, make sure that you're really digging deep to get the guts of what that company is actually all about. And they did that for us way before we ever made the jump. So that was awesome.
Yeah. I think that's great. You guys really have a great story, and I can't see very many ways that you guys would want to do anything different. I was making notes. Someone actually reached out to you. They shared the opportunity. You trusted someone that was close to you with a business mind, parts that you knew you needed to be open to, which I thought was really key. And then team support. You got team support before you were already there to help you guys transition, which is what it's all about. It's the favorite thing that we both see the opportunity here in the collaboration. And it was there before you even guys transitioned. So I think it's an amazing story. I wish more people, they should come up with a attraction process for people that EXP is right for, like what you guys went through. I think it's great. So before we sign off, there's someone watching this today that's thinking about EXP, or they're seeing this opportunity for the first time. And what would you tell them? You want to scream from the mountaintops. You want to just rip them off the fence. Like, dude, what are you doing? What would that be?
I think him and I are probably going to tell you something different, but in the same aspect. Big thing for me is that I want to scream from the mountaintops, just being learning based and having that camaraderie of teaching, is don't ever stop learning. And this is a phenomenal place to continue learning and growing. And there are so many opportunities to be able to grow besides just selling real estate and besides just attraction. One of the examples that I use when I tell people about that is there's an agent that I know that came from another brokerage to here that grew very, very quickly to the point that she's now a broker in charge in our state. And at the brokerage that she was at before, she didn't have that opportunity. She kept hitting her head and wasn't able to go past just selling real estate. And there's another agent from another brokerage that's now in compliance with EXP, that she pretty much only had the opportunity just to sell real estate. They didn't give her that opportunity to grow and expand. So for me, it's about pay attention to the growth and the opportunity to learn and grow, because there are so many opportunities besides just selling real estate and agent attraction with EXP. Dig in and get into all those opportunities.
I want to add, I think that's a great point. Greg, I want you to wrap us up, but I want to just say one thing on that. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. There's so many people that think that you have to come run this hamster wheel of transactions forever. If there's other opportunities for you to create the freedom and have life by design, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's not just about selling homes. And I think people sometimes get the wrong idea. It's that truth again, right? The story behind the story that people will tell themselves about any opportunity, whether it's EXP or other things. So I think it's an amazing point. Greg, what would you say?
Well, the first one is just the net income. We make so much more money doing the same amount of volume. And the second thing is, what people don't realize is the support. I think a lot of people are concerned about moving to XP because it's a virtual company. I won't get the support. We've got way more support with EXP. I sent a message to the broker workplace on Sunday, and I'm not going to bother on a Sunday. I'll get to her. She called me within minutes on a Sunday. Hi, Greg. How can I help? This is what my suggestion on this is. I'm like, whoa.
What, I didn't have to fumble through the world and make my avatar to go see my broker?
No. And the cool thing about what he's saying there, when it comes to that kind of support and community,
totally.
I've had a couple of circumstances where I needed a broker to back me up and help with a circumstance. And my broker was 100%, I would say 150% on board, helped me, walked me through some of the circumstances that I was dealing with a transaction, and way beyond what we were dealing with here just in South Carolina, and found me the right resources. So that kind of support was way beyond what I had experienced at any other brokerage.
I love that. We do a lot of creative things with our team, and I've experienced the exact same thing. The support, we're doing some really creative things sometimes, and we try to run everything through compliance. Huh?
Not you. Creative.
Oh yeah. I know. I know I made that name for myself before, and still, we're still doing things. But that's the cool thing about being with EXP. They're very cutting edge. It's one of the core values, so very cool.
Well,
so
on that note, I'll say this. That's the cool thing about not every single real estate business is made to be put into a cookie cutter box.
Right.
and they have allowed us to build our teams that's within our personality of what we want for our team and our business.
Yep.
And that's the other thing that was an attraction to me, is that we've branded our team and changed our branding over to Lower Latitudes with the intent that we are expanding and eventually want to have a team in the Caribbean and several Caribbean islands. Since we travel there so much, why not write it off, right?
Absolutely.
And that's one of the cool things, is EXP gives you that flexibility to be able to expand what normal is.
Awesome. So walk me through a little process, a little different. I'm going to do this a little bit different before we sign off. Paint a picture for me. If someone was to reach out to you guys, what would be the process you would work them through, and so they don't feel like they're being sucked into something they don't want to do? What would be your process if they reached out to you about EXP?
First thing is, I would say join us in a state meeting. And I always give them that opportunity, because I can't tell you how many times I go to a state meeting on a Monday morning and walk into the world and sit my little avatar down and learn so much. The Q&A that we get from that state meeting is phenomenal. And I want them to be able to see that opportunity of no pressure, learn, grow, and feel, is this a good fit for what you are trying to accomplish, so they can see some of the tools. Yep. And some of the opportunities that are really there. So that's the first thing, is no pressure. Just go take a look, get a good insight as to what is actually there. And then the other side of that, for me, the second thing that I would say is have an open mind, because often I think a lot of people come in with, like we talked about earlier, these myths or mistakes of impression of what it actually is. And really have an open mind to what you're trying to accomplish for your business. Not all brokerages are created for all businesses. And if you're trying to accomplish certain checklists for what your business is, let's make sure that that's a good fit for what you're trying to accomplish for your business.
Cool.
Yeah, and we also, if you got some questions, we can sit and have coffee and just throw some questions at me. I'm not going to pressure you or tell you what you should or shouldn't do. That's your choice. If you got questions, shoot, and let's look at it. I'll show you the model.
Cool. I love it. Anything else you guys want to share? I knew this was going to be great. I really appreciate you guys. Anything else you want to share with everybody?
I think the biggest thing for me is I'll tell anybody out there that if you're even having an inkling of an idea that you think, maybe this is something that I'm interested in, explore it. Don't shut the door for opportunity, because the moment that you close the door to any opportunity, you close yourself off to what's the word I'm looking for? You basically close yourself off to any growth or any expansion or any excitement, whether it's in your personal business or just your real estate business. So I always love to pique people's curiosity and say, at least have enough curiosity to look. Because that was where I went wrong. And I didn't get I was so closed-minded and so uncurious to say, nope, I'm perfect. I've got this. And I was too quick to judge. And so at least pique your curiosity if you're even thinking about making a change or you feel like you're hitting a ceiling.
Cool. Well, guys, Lisa, Greg, thank you so much again for your time. I really appreciated this. You guys actually gave me some new tools I think I'm going to use in future testimonials. So I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Everybody else, peace out. We'll see you on the next EXP testimonial. Bye, guys.
Thanks for having us.